So if you found this video, you are bound to be aware of loads of folks on YouTube buying insurance damaged cars from auction, repairing them, putting them back on the road, that kind of thing. So can you do it? Yes, you can. Anybody can buy certain damaged cars. There are certain types of cars that are damaged sort of beyond repair that need to be scrapped. There's really one big player in the UK, and that's Copart, but there are a couple of other options out there that we're going to take a quick look at. So starting with Copart, they have the most locations here in the UK. In fact, if we just take a look at their locations on their website, you'll see here we've got a number of them spanning all over the UK. There's also got some locations in Germany, Spain, Finland. They've got one out in Dubai and Bahrain and Oman, and a whole heap of locations across North and South America. Car-wise, they have a pretty damn good selection here in the UK. They get through a lot of cars. In fact, I'll give you some numbers on it. So I did a bit of analysis on today's auctions that have gone through on Copart. So today, as a good example, what was it today? Friday the 25th of April. Through across the sites that had auctions today, they had auctions in the morning and the afternoon. They have two slots usually throughout a day. And during that, they turned over, or they put across the block 2,229 or thereabouts vehicles. You can see them spread out across these locations. So these were the locations that had them. The most cars going through Sandhoft. It's probably got the largest number of lanes. Yeah, so they ran 5 lanes of cars through the Sandhoft auction. And you can see there the sort of mines just through Sandhoft alone. They put the hammer down on just under £1 million worth of cars today. The type of volume of folks that were bidding on them. I mean, you can't have these numbers up, right? They're not unique individuals. They're going to be individuals that are looking across an auction or multiple auction lanes. But you know, on lane E, for example, there were 3,300 folks that were looking at the items coming across the block. Usual sort of split as you'd expect across Fords, Volkswagens, Vauxhalls, etc. at the top. And you can see here sort of like on winning bids of these things. I mean, a lot of cars on average, right? The average sort of car going through Copart, the hammer price is going to be about £1,700 based on just today, right? There'll be some big exceptions in there, right? When you start looking around at Porsches and things like that, the average winning bid was £9,000. I know for a fact there was a very nice GT3 that went through today, and the hammer went down at about 70k or something like that. I tend to use the Bristol location for Copart. It's the closest one to me. It's a very large site, and you can get the idea here. You can just go through and you can search for vehicles. They usually put a star up. They look for featured items, featured cars, and things like that. That's where all the nice toys tend to sit, as well as the run-of-the-mill stuff, right? So yeah, you get quite a wide variety. Obviously, with the volume of cars, as you saw, the volume of cars that they've actually putting through on a daily basis, when you actually look at the vehicle finder and look for the volume of cars, I mean, look in here, look, they've got 10,000 cars on their site for auction, either scheduled for auction or to be scheduled for auction. Calendar wise, so looking at sort of how often they run auctions, they are pretty much on a very regular basis every day of the week, and they run in the mornings and the afternoons at the different locations. So bidding is online, like all of these sites. You can bid in person in one of their offices, but basically you're doing it on a PC. There's no one standing there with a hammer. Copart's largest competitor in the US, at least, is IAA, and IAA a few years back bought a company in the UK. So a couple of years ago, IAA got into the UK market, buying this company out. When you actually go into their auction now, it's sort of rebranded into the IAA kind of schema. So in the UK, they've got a couple of thousand cars currently on their website, they hold auctions in pretty similar vein to Copart. Again, it's a member service. You can just go to their website and register, take a look at the cars. But if you want to buy anything, you need to sign in and you need to pay an annual membership. as opposed to Copart. Copart's £100 annual membership, IAA £75 plus the VAT. So looking at the sort of auction times, so they tend to again sort of go across the week, and you can see in here the different vendors that are on this platform, so different locations, so a fair few. So Salvage Market are another online auction site for salvage vehicles. You can see here at the moment they've got 1,200 vehicles across the platform. Again, you can just go into their website. Again, it's registration based, so you'll need to register to bid on things. With all these sites, it's a case of registering, providing some form of ID, usually a copy of your driving license and some sort of utility bill to prove your location. All bids are binding and all that kind of good stuff. All right. So Salvage Market does cover companies you may have heard of if you've been knocking around for a while. Folks like Charles Trent, as well as ASM Auto up Aylesbury Way. So how do these guys all compare on fees in the UK? So if you were to bid £500 and win at Copart, by the time you've paid the buyer's fee, the bidding fee, the lot fee and the VAT on the fees, you're at a total of 793 quid to go pick this thing up, and you need to pick it up in 3 days, or else you've got some more fees coming your way. IIA, so a little bit cheaper. You got 4 days to pick those up. And Salvage Market, a little bit more expensive actually. 804 quid they come in at. Let's up the price of our car to 1,500 quid. So at 1,500 quid, you're paying damn near 500 quid, 400 quid more. So Copart works out the most expensive for a car at 1,500 quid. IAA a little bit cheaper, and Salvage Market much cheaper. £3,000. Now we're paying 600 odd, 650, 670, 620, 600 in additional fees. And if you're really pushing the boat out and you're spending 10 grand on something that's had a prang, you're spending 970, so damn near another grand, basically about 10%. So it's interesting, right? When you're into the upper echelons, you're paying about a 10% fee. When you're down scraping away, as I am, buying Renault Zoes and things like that for a few £100s, you're really getting hit by these fees, right? Cat A cars you won't see at these auction sites. They are immediate crush, can't take parts off them, just destroy the whole thing. Cat Bs are written off cars where the body shell needs to be crushed. You won't, as a private individual, be able to buy these cars. Cat S is a structural damage write-off. So basically, something in the chassis is a bit bent, or there's a chassis leg, a bit of suspension's been pulled out, that kind of thing. Cat Ns are non-structural damage. So I hope that's been of some interest. More content coming out soon. Take care.